Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is still struggling at this major area of resistance, but in the immediate short term, we just wiped out the exact level of liquidity that I talked about in my last video, but we now have new price targets that we need to pay attention to in the immediate short term, while the Bitcoin dominance is continuing the major dump, which is good news for the altcoin market. This is causing an altcoin season, while the price of Ethereum is continuing the significant bullish move towards this very important area of resistance that we need to pay attention to, while the price of XRP is now breaking out into new record all-time highs. So I'll be talking about all of that and so much more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. And on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have a possible bearish divergence to watch out for, but not currently confirmed. And on this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, we still have bullish momentum and a bullish crossover playing out in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD. And of course, on this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, we have a bullish cup and handle pattern still actively playing out, with a technical price target still sitting at around $153,000 per Bitcoin. And so overall, on the larger timeframes, obviously we're still looking extremely bullish, still in a larger bull market. And on this daily Bitcoin price chart, we're still currently struggling at this major area of resistance, still sitting in between around 120,000 to 123,000. And so exactly as I've been saying every day for the last 1 week now on the channel, I've been saying expect a lot of resistance, a lot of struggle in that price range. And obviously that's exactly what has been playing out as predicted. And on this 4-hour Bitcoin price chart, just over the last 1 to 2 days, we did see a slight bullish relief here in the short term, obviously utilizing a little bit more of that room towards the upside here in the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI. But at least for now, we still have more room towards the upside to go. But remember, we have a lot of resistance in this area, in the low 120k area. And so what I said over the last 1 to 2 days, if you watched my last few videos, you'd already know this. I said we're most likely going to see a little bit more of just a slight relief in the short term, but then expect the price to struggle when we get towards this area on the price chart. And obviously that's been perfectly playing out as I've been predicting. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, obviously one of the reasons as to why I said it's extremely likely we'll cross just above 120,000 here in the short term, which is now played out, was due to the fact that we had a lot of liquidity sitting at just above 120,000, around 120.2k to 120.3k. And in case you're new to all of this, usually the price of Bitcoin tends to move towards where there's a lot of liquidity, especially if it's relatively close to the price of Bitcoin. So just yesterday, obviously over the last 1 to 2 days, the price of Bitcoin was sitting at give or take 118,000. And once again, we had that liquidity at just above 120,000, which is why I said in my last video, it's extremely likely we're going to cross just above 120,000 very soon to take out that liquidity, but then expect the price to still struggle in this area based on this major resistance. And overall, once again, that's perfectly played out. And I continue to expect something similar here in the short term. Basically, the price cooling off a little bit after that previous major bullish move, considering we still have strong resistance here. But if we're taking another look at that Bitcoin liquidation heat map, now that we've already wiped out that liquidity at just above 120,000, we're actually continuing to build that area towards the downside, the area of liquidity sitting in between around 117,000 to 117.3k. So it's actually quite likely that the price could potentially hit those prices again, once again at roughly 117,000 and just above 117,000. And obviously that's still relatively close to the price. So just don't be surprised if we see a very slight little dip to take out that liquidity, and then perhaps see another little bounce to retest this resistance and then continue to struggle around this area, playing out price action kind of like this just in the short term. And we also have a smaller amount of liquidity, but continuing to build at around 121.1k to 121.5k approximately. So keep that in mind. But at least for now, the main target in the short term, the main area of liquidity is at just above 117,000. But remember, all of this is currently occurring within a much larger bull market if we're zooming out looking at the bigger picture. So overall, once again, it's still looking very bullish. It's just in the immediate short term, at least for now, we are still struggling around this major resistance. And just before talking about the altcoin season and very important charts and signals that we need to pay attention to for a lot of altcoins, before talking about that, first, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I'm taking a lot of my crypto trades over on BTNX, so I'll make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading bonuses. For example, you can actually claim up to $40,000 $1,000 in trading bonuses just by trading crypto. And you can also get up to a $200 deposit bonus. So for example, if you deposit just $1,000, you get a $200 bonus into your Bitfinex account, but only if you use that link. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using that first link below this video to Bitfinex if you want to take advantage of these major bonuses here. It's basically free money anyway if you're trading crypto anyway. And in case you're wondering, Bitfinex is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want Bitfinex as an exchange, there's also 2bit as another option out there, another exchange that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video. If you use that link, it'll take you to this page where you can also claim some massive bonuses. For example, up to $50,000 in trading bonuses, and also a $30 sign up bonus and a 20% deposit rebate up to a max of 200 USDT. So for example, if you deposit just $1,000, you get a $200 bonus into your 2bit account. But once again, that's only if you use the link below this video to actually make your 2bit account. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the 3-day time frame, and at least for now, we're continuing to play out the bearish divergence, obviously resulting in a major dump in the Bitcoin dominance, at least in the somewhat shorter term. And so once again, as I've been saying every day for the last couple of weeks now on the channel, this is essentially causing an altcoin season and pointing towards a further altcoin season as this drop in the Bitcoin dominance continues. And now, if you're new to all of this, a drop in the Bitcoin dominance is not necessarily bad for the price of Bitcoin. For example, the price of Bitcoin can still play out bullish price action even if the Bitcoin dominance is bearish. This just simply means that the altcoins are outperforming whatever Bitcoin is doing on average. Obviously, it's not going to be every single altcoin in the market, but a lot of the altcoins, especially the major altcoins out there, will likely be performing better than whatever Bitcoin is doing while we're seeing this drop in the Bitcoin dominance. In other words, an altcoin season. And so this is still the situation, which means continue to expect a continued altcoin season moving forward over the next few days or weeks, possibly months. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin and crypto funding rates, something that we need to pay attention to more in the shorter term, so not necessarily for weeks or months from now, but in the shorter term once again, so talking about the next few days, maybe over the next 1 week, this is a possible warning signal for that time frame. And this is of course high funding rates for a lot of these altcoins here. And so overall, the Bitcoin funding rates are extremely neutral. The Ethereum funding rates are very neutral on most of these exchanges here, but a lot of these other altcoin funding rates, for example, XRP, Solana on some exchanges, the Dogecoin funding rates on a lot of exchanges are starting to flip much more positive, well above the neutral rate. And this is actually a bit of a warning signal telling us that there's too many people right now trying to pile into long positions, paying very high premiums. And oftentimes when the funding rates get too overheated, we see a bit of a long squeeze. In other words, a bit of a crash or some sort of a quick pullback, basically, not necessarily a major bear market or anything, but some sort of crash or dip in the price to actually wipe out a bunch of the over leveraged long positions to reset some of these funding rates. And now it is possible that these funding rates could get even more overheated before then we see a bit of a short-term reset. So keep that in mind. They're only just starting to get really overheated. But once again, this could possibly continue over the next few days or so. But basically, the further overheated these funding rates go, the further they go in the positive direction, the more likely we'll see some sort of long squeeze or a dip in the price of these assets with the high funding rates. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, obviously Ethereum has continued the major breakout beyond this previous Fibonacci level, which was sitting at around 3250, and we've also broken out above around 3.5k. And so now the resistance to target is sitting at around 3.7k approximately, and obviously we're already getting very close to 3.7k as we could see. But if we see a breakout above that level, the next major target towards the upside, the next major area of resistance would be this area here on the 3-day Ethereum price chart, sitting in between 3.9k to 4.1k. So basically at roughly 4,000, and just either side of 4,000, we have significant resistance there, as we can see, because all the way back from around the beginning of 2024, we've seen multiple significant rejections from that area, which is telling us expect a lot of resistance, a lot of struggle, and likely a rejection from this area on the price chart, once again in between 3.9k to 4.1k, if we can actually get there. First of all, once again, we still have a bit of resistance at 3.7k, but then after that target this area and then expect a lot of struggle in that area. And if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 2-hour Ethereum price chart, we do technically have a bearish divergence, which so far has had a couple of confirmation signals to technically confirm the short-term bearish divergence, with higher highs confirmed in the price and slight lower highs now confirmed in the 2-hour Ethereum RSI. So this means that maybe just in the immediate short term, talking about the next few hours or maybe over the next 1 or 2 days, expect just a slight little cool off is a very likely scenario. So basically a bit of a break in the immediate short term from the bullish price action, but then once again the larger trend and momentum is still clearly bullish. We're very much bullish if we're zooming out looking at the bigger picture. Just in the immediate short term, expect a slight little break from the bullish price action and then a continuation most likely towards this significant area of resistance, and then once again expect a lot of struggle around that area. And as for support, basically expect a lot of support based on previous resistance flipping into new support. So for example, at around 3.5k and also at around 3250 would be the main levels of support here in the short term that I'll be looking at, if of course we first see a pullback. But for now, overall, the larger price structure, the larger trend and momentum is still clearly pointing in the bullish direction. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame, it's a similar situation for Solana. We're still clearly pointing in the bullish direction in terms of the trend and momentum, but we're just now running into these previous highs right here, which, as I've been saying many times here on the channel, expect some resistance, expect struggle around these highs in between roughly 180 to 185. And so far we are struggling a little bit in that area, but if we see a continued breakout beyond 185, obviously that would be a bullish signal for Solana. But just above that, we do have the golden pocket area of resistance in between around 191 to 199. And as for support, I'd now be looking at this previous level of resistance flipping into new support at once again around 167 approximately. And if we're zooming into the 8-hour time frame, technically we still have an active bullish cup and handle pattern still actively playing out once again, with a technical price target still sitting at around $194 approximately. So from where we are right now to that price target, that's still around an 8% move towards the upside still to go before we actually hit the price target and complete the price pattern. And obviously, if for example you took some sort of trade here at the breakout to where we are right now, that's up around 13 to 14% with no leverage, or to the price target, that would have been a complete around 22% move towards the upside if we ultimately complete this pattern. And while the price of Solana is still playing out this bullish trend, playing out this bullish price pattern, if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 2-hour time frame, we can see that during the bullish trend, we do have little time periods here and there where we reach overbought here in the 2-hour Solana RSI, and that basically tells us we're running out of room towards the upside in the immediate short term. We need a little bit of time just to reset the RSI, having a slight little cool off in the short term, and then ultimately continuing the bullish trend further towards the upside later on as we have more room towards the upside again. And so that's basically what we've just seen over the last half a day or so. Obviously just a slight little reset in the immediate short term, helping to reset the RSI from these overbought territories, now giving us some more room towards the upside again, which means we could potentially see a little bit more of a push higher in the immediate short term. But then once again, watch out for that overbought signal telling us we could be due to see another little cool off like that, for example. That's very normal to see during a bullish trend. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the daily time frame, XRP over the last 1 day has now officially confirmed a breakout into new record all-time highs. That's right, we've just seen the highest daily candle close in history for the price of XRP, which that daily candle close was sitting at almost $3.50, and the previous all-time record high, the candle week high, was roughly $3.40, and the previous all-time high for the candle closes on the daily time frame was roughly $3.30. And so obviously now that we've actually broken out not only above $3.30 to $3.40, but also just confirmed a daily candle close at close to $3.50, once again this now technically confirms the breakout above the previous all-time record high, which means obviously we're in price discovery. We've never been in these prices before, and I'd now expect supports based on this previous area of resistance flipping into new support at around $3.30 to $3.40. So if we see a bit of a pullback here, expect support in that price range. And as for the next levels of resistance or next price targets towards the upside, obviously we cannot really look at previous price action to determine previous points of rejection because we're at new all-time record highs. So if we're looking at the Fibonacci extension levels, we once again just broke out above roughly $3, which was this 1618 Fibonacci extension level on the weekly XRP price chart from the previous all-time high back in April 2021 down to this swing low during July 2022. That gives us the 1618 Fibonacci extension at $3, which once again we've just broken out above, but we have the 2618 Fibonacci extension now sitting at around $4.60 to $4.70. And so for example, if we're measuring that move from the current price as of recording this video to that technical price target, that's still over a 30% move towards the upside with no leverage, or for example, a 10x leverage long position would be over a 300% profit in that example. But as always, not financial advice. And I'd also expect significant support at $3 based on this Fibonacci level here, the Fibonacci extension level, and once again support in between around 330 to 340. And if we were to actually break back below 330 to 340, then of course in that situation that area would once again become new resistance, which means obviously that will be the next target to pay attention to if we break back below that area. So in the short term, that would be a bearish signal for at least the following days or possibly weeks. But once again, at least for now, we're holding above that area, which means right now we're looking extremely bullish, clearly. And as I've been saying for a long time now on the channel, the trend and momentum, the price structure is looking extremely bullish for the price of XRP. And so obviously, as I've been saying here on the channel, especially once we confirm the breakout above $2.60, above this golden pocket, I said from that point onwards, expect a major bullish move towards new all-time highs. So obviously, if you've been watching my channel over the last few days or weeks, congratulations. I hope you have taken advantage of some of these major opportunities. But considering we're only just beginning to see a crash in this Bitcoin dominance here, the opportunities are potentially only just beginning. So if you're only just finding this channel now and you feel like you've missed out on this bullish move, definitely make sure you're subscribed to this channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important update videos where I'm always sharing major opportunities to make a lot of easy and quick money in the crypto market. And once again, if you want to get set up ready to go to take that next trading opportunity, get set up ready to go using those links below this video to those exchanges to take advantage of those major bonuses. But with that being said, taking another look at this weekly XRP price chart, and while the price is obviously breaking out into new all-time highs, technically on the weekly XRP RSI, we're sitting in a significant lower high, which means it's extremely likely that at some point in the next few weeks or months, we'll confirm a significant bearish divergence on the weekly XRP price chart. And a bearish divergence of this size would likely put an end, at least for a period of weeks or months, to this bullish move right here, which means we could likely see a larger correction or a larger sideways consolidation in the price. But once again, I want to make this clear, at least for now, this is just currently forming. It is not confirmed. It is not in play, which means for now, we're still overall looking very bullish for the price of XRP. I'm just pointing this out to let you know in advance that most likely within the next few weeks or months, this could begin to confirm at some point in the future. Once again, at some point, maybe in a month from now, this could likely confirm. And if we're taking a quick look at the XRP to Bitcoin chart, this is XRP versus Bitcoin, or XRP priced in Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. So in case you're new to all of this, if this chart is bullish, it means XRP is outperforming Bitcoin. If this chart's bearish, it means XRP is underperforming Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's outperforming XRP if this chart is bearish. And obviously just recently, over the last 1 to 2 weeks, the price of XRP has been outperforming Bitcoin, as we can see with this little altcoin season that is already starting thanks to the dump in the Bitcoin dominance. But on this XRP to Bitcoin price chart, we're now running into a very significant area of resistance, as we can see. And previously, over the last multiple years, for in fact the last half a decade, going all the way back towards the beginning of 2020, we can see many significant rejections from this exact area of resistance on the XRP to Bitcoin price chart. And so what this means is that it is quite likely we'll see a lot of struggle and possibly a rejection from this area, which we're just now starting to enter into, which means XRP might not necessarily continue to outperform Bitcoin much longer, maybe for the next few days or so. But just keep in mind, we're running into significant resistance here, which means once again, the major bullish move for XRP might be coming towards its end. Now, once again, we could still see more bullish price action, especially for XRP against the US dollar. Just it's worth pointing out this possible risk on the XRP to Bitcoin price chart. But if, of course, we were to break out above this area, that would change everything for XRP versus Bitcoin, and we would likely see a continued massive explosion towards the upside for XRP versus Bitcoin. And if, of course, that happens, I'll let you know about it straight away here on the channel. So make sure you have notifications turned on to not miss out on any of these important update videos. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, Chainlink just now is starting to break out above this important area of resistance resistance here, where we've previously seen many rejections from and also important bounces from this area, and that's sitting in between around $17.50 to $18. And the latest daily candle close confirmed pretty much right on $18. So at least for now, we're still waiting for confirmation. Ideally, we need to see a daily candle close above $18, which based on the current price action, it's looking likely that this daily candle close could confirm above $18, considering as of recording this video, we're trading above $18. But once again, at least for now, I want to make it clear we're still waiting for confirmation to technically confirm the breakout. But if we confirm the breakout with that daily candle close above $18, in that situation, expect support in this previous area of resistance flipping into new support in between $17.50 to $18. And as for the next resistance to watch out for, now that we're already trading above this area, I'll now be focusing on this level of resistance at roughly around $19.50. So in the high $19 area, really in between around $19.50 to $20, would likely find a lot of resistance around there. But then once we see a breakout, especially above $20, especially with daily candle closes above $20, in that situation, it's extremely likely it would continue much higher into the $20 range. So most likely up towards 25 to 26 at least, if we first break out above $19.50 to $20, which is that next area of resistance. And if we're taking a look at the 3-day time frame, zooming out a little bit, we do technically have this golden pocket area of resistance here, sitting in between around $20 to almost $21 that we need to pay attention to. But above that area, the next major Fibonacci level is the 78.6% Fibonacci level, and that's sitting at around $24.3, so roughly around $24 to $25. And so ultimately, in order to continue the next major bullish move towards the mid $20 area, around $24 to $26 as the next major price target, in order to expect that, we first need to see this breakout above around $19.50 to $20, and ideally even above $21. But especially if we break out above $20, it's extremely likely it would continue towards the mid $20 range. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 4-hour Chainlink price chart, we can see that right now, as of recording this video, we're actually sitting in overbought territories in the 4-hour Chainlink RSI, which is telling us we're due to see maybe a slight little cool off, either in the form of just some sideways price action or maybe a very slight pullback in the immediate short term, kind of like what we saw just here, or just here, for example. Only very small moves. Remember, this is only on the 4-hour time frame, but the larger trend and momentum is still very much bullish. So once again, when we get overbought on the smaller time frames, don't be surprised if we see just a slight little pullback like this. But if anything, during a larger bullish trend, those can turn out to be some great buying opportunities or opportunities to add to a long position, for example. Not financial advice, considering the larger trend and momentum is still bullish. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, make sure to check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto no matter what the price is doing, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit during bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit during choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.